With us today is Richard LeBuin, who's from Australia, and he was recently here to World Improvement Ministries, and he's going to tell us a little bit about what he's seen and what you go ahead, Richard. What did you see?
Well, we looked at a number of devices, and because I'm very excited about this, because I've been looking forward to this for a long time. But to be an eyewitness to some of the devices that Sir Timothy and his group of scientists and engineers have been involved in is just another level again. I was absolutely amazed. The first invention we saw was the delay line generator. Is that what it's called? Delay line generator?
Or sometimes it's called delay line motor, but it's a motor and a generator.
So what I saw, first of all, we measured the open circuit voltage of the batteries that were there on the surface to power the device, and then having done that, we started the device and just let it run for a while. So this we had some fluorescent tubes attached, and they're lighting up, and of course the motor itself was running. So work was being done. It was obvious that work was being done, and after a minute or so, we stopped the device and measured the open circuit voltage of the battery pack again, and now this seems like a small thing in one way, but an absolutely revolutionary thing in another way, because the voltage of that battery pack had gone up. Work had been done and the voltage on the battery pack had gone up. So those batteries had charged while work was being done. Now, the implications for that are just blow the mind. That was only a small scale device, but having seen that and having been able to inspect it, I'm not a scientist or an engineer, but I am a qualified and experienced telecommunications technician. I'm not an idiot when it comes to electricity, basic electronics, electromagnetic induction, signal propagation and things of that type. So I can assure everyone who's watching this that there's no hidden batteries, no hidden wires, nothing under the bench or around the other side of the bench or anything like that. And so just seeing, even on a small scale, that that's possible, the implications for the human race are just incredible.
You need to explain what Overunity is.
Okay, yeah, for those who don't, that's a good point. For those who don't understand Overunity means that you put a certain amount of energy into the system, and if you get out over 100%, then that's Overunity. Unity is 100%. So if you're, let's say, a heat pump, for example, we've been using those worldwide now for about 100 years. They've been mass produced probably for 50 years or 40 years, and they are typically Overunity about 300%, or that. It varies depending on the temperature outside. They use a temperature gradient to produce their extra energy, whereas ours use quantum energy, or what's going on at a quantum level or subatomic level. Normal energy flows through the environment that can be harnessed as well, and then there's many different types of flows, not just electron flows. We're used to electron flows, and some people think that's all there is, but there's quite a bit more, as Richard is learning. Everybody knows about a few more. Everybody knows about photons, and everybody knows about ions. I say everybody, a few people, So these different types of flows can be used in different ways, and you can get extra energy in a system.
Yeah, you can. One of the things that's quite, on the surface of it, simple but just amazing, is to see that one of the circuits in Sir Timothy's first device we looked at, it's a rubber tube, an insulator, and we measured the resistance, and for practical purposes it had virtually infinite resistance, but nevertheless there's a flow of an electricity-like influence there, which I personally experienced by touching it.
Yeah, you can touch the rubber hose, you can feel the electricity.
And there's no doubt that there's an electric-like flow through the rubber, no problem.
But it's not electrons. If you're familiar with Wilmshurst type generators, you know that type of energy will flow through insulators. And so there's one example of one type of electricity that will flow through insulators. So certain types of insulators. It collects on insulators in that type of system, and it flows into them and off of them, and it will flow through them if you design the circuit to flow through them. And so that's one of the aspects of dominant energy. Is there's almost all the dominant fields will flow through insulators, depending on what type of insulator it is and what frequency you're running at, and so on.
So it's a different area of science. I have a good background in mainstream mainstream electronics and electricity and so forth, but the sorts of concepts that we're dealing with here are quite different to what's commonly taught, which is really in schools and in science courses and things, but it's not myth and magic. Having spoken with Sir Timothy and read the works of other people involved in this area, it's hard science. It's no doubt about it. It's absolutely hard science.
I will add this, that places like China that are very technologically advanced and getting more so all the time, I have co-authored books that are being taught or going to be taught very soon in the schools over there, and the college level schools. And so it may still be far out there for most people watching this video, but for those in the know, it's not. For those that understand what's going on worldwide, this is very up and coming, and it's new technology, it's cutting edge technology, and very soon everybody will know about it. I would say within 5 or 10 years, everybody will be able to buy many types of quantum energy systems maybe from your local Walmart or whatever. So China is doing some pretty advanced things, and so is Japan, and there's a number of other countries as well. So it's looks like the United States might be last on the list, but it'll get here because they're making everything in China, so it'll get here eventually. And it originally developed here, as most people realize, approximately 200 years ago. Started 200 years ago, and Keeley and Tesla and so on brought it further along, basically. Now, I think that pretty much covers everything, unless you wanted to comment on the gravity motor.
Yes, this is another area of technology that I hadn't been exposed to until recently, is the idea of a motor that works purely on gravitation and centrifugal forces. And once again, it's one of these things that in the mainstream view is utterly impossible, but we did test a gravity motor, and I tested as much as I could myself. This particular design just involved rolling a device along a flat surface, and while the experience is a little bit subtle, I started this device and pushed it to a certain speed, and then completely relaxed in terms of adding any further force to it. And as far as I could tell personally, this thing has got enough, produces enough power just to keep itself rolling without any input from the user, me in this case. And
that's very typical of gravity motors. They'll have one speed they like, and they don't produce a lot of power, but that's why we keep building them. We're hoping to get a simple one that does produce a lot of power, and we have had complicated ones produce a lot of power, but they're too complicated for most people to build. So we've got to have a simple one. If we're going to change the world with gravity motors, it's got to be something simple that anybody can grasp the concepts pretty quickly, and will still produce usable, decent power. And of course, the one you saw is still just basically a demonstration model. Very little power, but it does. Everybody that's rolled it is convinced that it is keeping itself going at one speed, and so it produces a small amount of power to overcome frictional losses, basically.
That's it.
And so, so that's great. Well, this is a Christian ministry. All your donations are tax deductible. So we ask everybody to pray about it and give as the Lord leads your heart. And also, I'm a spokesman of the World Improvement Through the Spirit Ministries. And so any group, hopefully 100 people, 200 people, or bigger, just if you want us to come speak, just get in contact with us by email. The email is WITS2014. And just email us there at yahoo.com, WITS2014 @yahoo.com. Email us there and make a donation if you can, and together we can change the world. If nobody participates, it's hard to change the world, but if everybody does, it's easy to change the world. So we encourage everybody, donate, pray about it, and donate what you can. And if you want us to speak to your church or any group that would like us to speak, just send us an email and we'll work it out. And please participate, and let's make this world a better place.